necessarily all that comfortable in these conditions, because it can give them a huge handicap to go into the longer race later on.
Yeah, and it is always one of those things for the riders whenever you get these kind of variables thrown into the mix, how you're going to be able to react to it. And it's always interesting to see who's getting faster and faster during a session like this. Everyone's stayed out on track all the way around, and everyone's getting themselves down to speed. Toprak doing his 52.2, Sam doing a 52.4 shows that, again, you're 14 seconds off the dry weather time. I think that's a really good indication that this track is good in the wet. And it is relatively new asphalt. Obviously, we've got some places that have been patched up since the test last month, but it's a relatively new circuit. And the newer the asphalt is, typically, the better the grip level in the wet conditions. It tends to be a case of, as the track gets older and older, it breaks down a little bit, gives up less grip, particularly in these kind of conditions. But when it's new and fresh, it is really grippy. I remember going to Sepang one year, and we had it where there was a super sport race, and then the Superbikes went out, and Nicky Hayden was able to pick up his race win because he had looked at what PJ Jacobson had done in the super sport session, and he was able to go out and really ride aggressively right from the get-go. And it's those kind of moments that can win and lose a race in the wet conditions. So everyone now is going to have that feeling that, okay, the conditions aren't going to be too bad, let's push on right from the start. A 10-lap Superpole race, you've definitely got no choice for that.
No, exactly. I think here we might see a bit of a reverse of that. You were mentioning Nicky Hayden, of course, asking B.A. Jacobson, because he'd seen the Super Sport session before, as something that's happened in the past year at World Superbike. But here they are the very first session of the day, so I can imagine a few of the riders in Super Sport and in World WCR will be trying to get some information off their World Superbike peers and see how they can adapt in the next 15-minute warm-up sessions, which they'll have in a few moments' time. For now, however, the checkered flag will come out in 8 seconds, and we are on our final timed laps. We focus on Nicolo Buliga, number 11, currently 7th on the time sheet. He's provisional, of course, to move up to 3rd position. So is Jari Montel on the number 5 bike. We haven't focused much on the Barney Racing rider, one of those who was caught up in those incidents yesterday. It was a 7th position finish for Montella in race 1 yesterday, of course, conditioned by the number of riders who couldn't participate in that race or who were involved in issues amongst that race. But Montella, a rider who is starting to make a few steps forward, starting to be a bit more consistent on that bike, and today, again, another rider who has that big opportunity to be able to make a permanent step forward, at the very least in terms of his confidence.
Yeah, Montella's had a pretty decent year. When the bike's been working well, he's been able to get good results, and as a rookie, that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for the high water marks, not really where they fall in the depth. We've just got a red flag has just come out, so we'll wait and see what that's for. It might be for Michael Ruben Rinaldi. It's just, it looks like on our timing screens. So we'll see what's happened there. But the red flag comes out to bring the session to a close. We had ended the session anyway. So for these riders, and you can see that's Rinaldi's bike now. And
fire extinguishers are out, so potentially that is the main issue there for that bike. But it all seems to be okay, if not for the number 12's bike. He's okay, he's up on his feet, which is the most important thing in these sort of conditions, because we're quite quick to bring the red flags out. You
can see the marshals there doing the taste test as well, just to rub the ground and then see if any fluid's gone down. But at least it's at this stage now, and you can see for Rinaldi just telling everyone to stay away from this side of the track. So yeah, he's obviously dropped quite a bit of fluid there. So there'll be a bit of a cleanup operation now for the marshals and the crew. And let's have a little look at Rinaldi, and he knows it straight away, pulls off, and unfortunate whenever you drop that much fluid. But you can see for Michael, he's done exactly what he's supposed to do, which is he's understood what's happened, and he's gotten off as quickly as he can. And you can see Alex Lowe's in the background there just calling for the flags as well, and the flags straight out. So the marshals here have done a really good job up to now. You can see the fluid coming through the belly pan as well. The belly pan's supposed to catch most of that, but sometimes the wet conditions you can see a little bit more coming out just because it can flow over. But for Rinaldi, that's unfortunate for him, and a bit of work to be done now for his team as well, the Moto X team.
And a bit of work for the marshals as well, because the unfortunate thing is that is on the racing line, so they will have to pay extra attention ahead of the sessions ahead to be able to make that clean-up operation. Obviously not helped by the weather conditions we have here in that wet track. So an unfortunate end to the session, but the checkered flag had come out already. It's just a few riders who were on fast laps who will have had their times deleted. So no changes to the order then. It will be Ryan Vickers in third position with Sam Lowes in second and Toprak Razgatlioglu at the time of the timesheet. So at the top of the timesheet. So no changes to the order from dry to wet for the double reigning world champion. So his confidence intact going into the session. The BMW has always been a bike which has also worked well in these sort of conditions. So no worries to be had from himself, but a big step forward from his teammate Michael van der Mark as well in 7th position. That M1000RR working well in these conditions. So we focus on Sam Lowes, second once again. They've been our top two basically every session.